Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. The best revenge to those who deeply hurt you, it ain't loud, it ain't public, it ain't come with a big old speech. Nah. The best revenge is quiet and it's personal. It's the kind that don't even look like revenge at all. It look like peace. It look like purpose. It look like joy coming from a place they can't touch no more. Let me explain something to you real quick, and I want you to catch this deep in your spirit. Healing ain't about letting them off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. Some of y'all walking around heavy, wounded, angry, stuck in pain from what somebody did to you. You thinking if you heal, it means they win. You thinking if you move on, they get away with what they did. But that's where you got it twisted. Healing don't let them off the hook. It lets you off the cross. You see, when you choose to heal, you're taking your power back. That's what people don't understand. Holding on to hurt might feel like strength in the moment. It might feel like control. But all it's really doing is chaining you to a moment that already happened. That pain, that betrayal, that disrespect, it already took place. But you keep reliving it every time you replay it in your head. Every time you talk about it like it just happened. Every time you let it color your view of the world. Healing is saying you might have hurt me, but you no longer have access to define me. Listen, I know how it feels. I've had folks who smiled in my face and stabbed me in the back before the sun went down. I've had people I trusted throw me to the wolves and I ain't even see it coming. I know what it's like to lay in bed and question your own worth because of what somebody else did. But I also know what it's like to make a decision not to forget, not to excuse, but to heal because I deserve peace. I deserve to sleep at night without bitterness eating at my soul. Let me break this down to you. Healing is your rebellion. It's your quiet, I win. Because let's be honest, most of the folks who hurt you, they don't expect you to rise. They expect you to stay broken, stay bitter, stay stuck. They expect the betrayal to define the rest of your life. But when you decide to heal, when you choose peace over pettiness, baby, that's the most powerful move you can make. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy. Healing ain't instant. It ain't some overnight fix. Some days you're going to cry. Some days you're going to want to pick that phone up and give them a piece of your mind. Some days you're going to feel weak all over again. But don't confuse those moments with failure. That's process. And process is where strength is born. Growth don't come from comfort, it comes from the fire. And healing is walking through that fire and still coming out with grace. You ain't got to tell him you healing. You ain't got to post a single quote about forgiveness. Just do it. Just live. Just get better every single day. And before you know it, you won't even flinch when their name comes up. You won't even feel that knot in your stomach when you think about what they did. You're going to smile, not because you're fake, but because you finally got your joy back. You finally understood that what they did doesn't have the final say over who you become. And look, sometimes you ain't going to get closure. Sometimes the apology won't come. Sometimes they'll move on like you didn't matter. But healing says, I close this chapter without your signature. It says, I don't need you to feel guilty for me to feel whole. And that right there, that's the real revenge. You thought they was going to feel bad? Nah, they might never feel bad. But the moment you stop waiting for their remorse and start walking in your own restoration, you just snatched all your power back. So stop bleeding for people who ain't even sorry they cut you. Heal for you. That's how you win. That's how you take the pain they gave you and turn it into something they never saw coming. Not punishment, not revenge, but power. And that power don't come from breaking them. It comes from rebuilding you. And let me tell you something real clear. You ain't got to argue with nobody to prove your worth. See, some of y'all still trying to get people to understand you, to hear your side, to feel your pain, to admit they were wrong. You sending long texts, holding on to long conversations in your head, trying to figure out the perfect comeback. But let me help you out today. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is absolutely nothing. Silence? Oh, silence is loud when it comes from someone who used to cry, used to fight, used to explain themselves over and over again. They expect your rage. They expect your meltdown. They expect you to go off, to cuss them out, to chase them down, asking why. But when you go quiet, when you don't respond, that silence shakes their spirit, because silence says, you no longer matter in my world enough to disturb my peace. Silence says, I'm over here winning so hard, I don't even have time to look back. That's what success does. It talks for you. It becomes your voice when you don't feel like arguing anymore. Your glow, your grind, your growth. It all speaks volumes. I promise you this. The folks who hurt you, who laughed when you were low, who thought you'd never bounce back, they watching. Oh yeah, they might not like your pictures, they might not text you anymore, but trust me, they're watching. Watching to see if you really moved on. Watching to see if you still talking about them. Watching to see if you still down. So when you rise without clapping back, when your life gets sweeter without their name ever crossing your lips again, that silence is deafening to them. You see, people who cause pain, they thrive off reaction. It feeds their ego. When you scream, cry, beg, or explain, they know they still got a piece of you. But when you fall back, when you level up, that ego shrivels, because now they ain't in control. Now they got to sit with the reality that they had access to something special and lost it. And what makes that loss even heavier is seeing you succeed while they still stuck in the same mess they were in when they betrayed you. Let me give it to you like this. You don't need to prove them wrong with words. Prove them wrong with wins. Prove them wrong by not becoming what they tried to reduce you to. You're not what they said about you. You're not what they did to you, and you don't need to convince them of that. Just live your truth. Just be your healed, blessed, happy self, and let the blessings on your life scream what your voice no longer needs to. When they see you glowing differently, when they see you walking in rooms with peace on your shoulders and joy in your step, they gonna feel it. They gonna feel what you didn't say. They gonna hear every word you didn't speak. That's when silence becomes the loudest statement you could ever make, because it says, you tried to break me, but look, I became unshakable. People don't always admit what they lost. They won't always confess that they regret hurting you. But the regret is there, you just won't be around to witness it. And that's okay, because you ain't on that stage no more. You're in a new act of your life, and they no longer have a role in the show. So walk off that old scene with grace. Exit the drama without the need for applause. Let your growth speak. Let your happiness echo. Let your new chapter turn without needing to slam the old door. And above all, let your silence and your success drown out the noise they left behind. That's how you win. That's how you rise. That's how you make sure your story don't end where they thought it would. You know what's funny? People will hurt you, betray you, walk away from you, and somewhere deep down, they expect you to stay down. They expect you to crumble, to stop believing in yourself, to stop smiling. They expect their actions to dim your light. But let me tell you something they didn't count on. They didn't count on God's hand being on your life. They didn't count on your comeback being part of your call. And what they really didn't see coming, you rising higher than ever before with peace in your heart and purpose in your soul. That's what I call spiritual revenge. See, revenge ain't always about getting back at somebody. That's too small. That's too shallow. God don't operate in petty. He operates in purpose. When you choose to elevate your life, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right, that's a level of power no insult, betrayal, or lie can ever touch. Your elevation becomes the message. Your growth becomes the answer, and your success becomes the sermon they didn't know they needed to hear. Some of y'all keep looking back, trying to show people what they missed out on. Let me help you stop doing that today. You ain't got to go back to show them nothing. Let them feel it in your absence. Let them see it from the sidelines. Your healing, your peace, your elevation, that's what'll speak for you. Every step you take upward is a silent reminder to them that what they tried to break only built you stronger. There is something holy about leveling up quietly. There is something sacred about outgrowing who they thought you were. When you start operating on a different frequency, when you stop responding the way you used to, when you stop letting bitterness live rent-free in your mind, that's when you tap into your real power. And the crazy part is, they won't even understand what's happening. They'll see you shine and wonder why they feel so uncomfortable in your glow. That's what happens when you elevate in peace. Your spirit exposes their regret. Let's be real. Your blessings are not just for you. Sometimes God will bless you in front of the same people who tried to bury you. And not because he's being petty, but because he's showing the world that favor ain't fair. He's showing that when you keep your heart right, even when people do you wrong, he'll take you places your enemies can't follow, and he'll do it in a way that no one can deny. That's what spiritual revenge looks like. It's not screaming, "Look at me now." It's silently saying, "Thank you, Lord," while your enemies look on in silence, trying to understand how you still shining. Sometimes your elevation comes not from working harder, but from letting go. Letting go of the need to explain, letting go of resentment, letting go of revenge. When you remove those weights, you rise higher without even trying. And as you rise, you stop needing closure, you stop needing validation, you stop needing them to see you, because now you see yourself. And that's where real freedom begins. People who tried to hold you back will try to make it seem like you changed. And you know what? You did. You leveled up. You got wiser. You learned to protect your peace. That's not pride. That's progress. And you don't owe anyone an apology for becoming what God called you to be, especially not those who tried to keep you from it. They made you question yourself. They made you shrink. But now you're walking in rooms you didn't even pray for yet, because God heard prayers you were too hurt to say. So don't worry about the folks who hurt you. Don't get caught up trying to return what they gave. Instead, rise. Rise in silence. Rise in purpose. Let them watch you from the distance they created. And as you climb higher, just remember, every level you reach is a testimony. You didn't need to get even, you needed to get elevated. And baby, you did. That's the sweetest revenge of all. People always expect the same version of you they left behind. When they lie on you, betray you, walk away from you like you didn't mean nothing, they don't walk away quietly. Now, they leave expecting drama. They expect you to break down. They expect you to chase them, cry over them, beg for closure. They expect you to stay on the ground they knocked you down on. That's their power trip. They want your reaction. But I'm here to tell you, don't give them what they want. Give them what they never saw coming. Don't give them your anger. Give them your growth. Don't give them your tears. Give them your transformation. That's the move. That's the flip. That's the real clapback. Evolution. See, when somebody hurts you, they're betting against your healing. They think they've set you back. They think you're going to sit in that mess they created. But when you start evolving, when you start growing in ways they never imagined, it shakes their spirit. They might act unbothered, but trust me, your growth is loud in the silence. It hits different when you respond, not with revenge, not with bitterness, but with becoming something greater. I need you to understand something deep. Reacting is easy. Reacting is what they prepared for. They got their excuses ready, their comebacks lined up, their gossip spread in advance. They hope you react because it justifies their story. See, I told you she crazy. I told you he was bitter. But when you don't play their game, when you evolve instead, that narrative falls apart because you no longer fit in the box they tried to trap you in. There's power in not giving people the version of you they hurt. You ain't who you were when they did what they did. You've changed, you've grown. And if you haven't yet, baby, you're on your way. And when that transformation begins, something beautiful happens. The things that used to bother you don't. The people that used to shake you can't. The things that used to keep you up at night now make you laugh in the morning. That's not weakness. That's evolution. That's you leveling up in silence. They don't expect you to heal. They expect you to become a reflection of the pain they gave you. But instead of becoming bitter, you became better. Instead of cussing them out, you cut off the access. Instead of explaining yourself, you elevated your mindset. And now they look confused. Now they stuck wondering how you went from broken to blessed, from crying to conquering, from wounded to walking in your purpose. See, people don't always regret losing you right away. Sometimes it takes time. It takes them seeing the version of you that was waiting to be born once they left. You can't evolve in the middle of chaos. You needed that heartbreak. You needed that distance. You needed the silence. That space allowed you to grow into who you were meant to be all along. And now that you're stepping into your light, now that you're walking in peace, they don't know how to approach you anymore because the old version of you don't live here no more. Your evolution is a mirror. It reflects back to them what they lost, what they mishandled, what they didn't value. But you don't owe them a speech. You don't owe them closure. All you owe them is your silence and your growth. Let them see you rising. Let them feel the shift. Let them watch you from where they left you, because that seat's no longer reserved for them. When they come looking for the old you, the one who begged, who broke down, who reacted with fire and fury, make sure they can't find her. Make sure that door is closed, locked, and sealed with wisdom.